Yo, what's up guys, Say Chronicles here, and we're actually going to look at some patch notes and other notes from the Korea server rather than our own server. And the main reason that it's useful to do this is it's kind of key in this game to have knowledge of you knowing what's coming, and based on that you can do certain things of like progression, knowing what to use when, where, and how. And they have quite a bunch of changes in this one actually, because, well, first of all, we already see it. You can get level 80. But they also say that you don't have to do different transcendence. It would be kind of strange, like, to be honest, why would you change to level 80 from level 70 unless you're actually adding something progressively towards the difficulty of actually getting something. Before we get into the video, I would like to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is the Huawei app. If you're planning to buy packs within Chronicles, I recommend you to buy them cheaper, and Huawei AppGallery can help you with that. How does that work out? First, you would have to download the Huawei AppGallery, first link in the description, download the HMS core, and then also create an account. Once we have that all set up, we can search for summoners for our Chronicles, and we can see over here that we can install the game. Once the game is installed, we can also see that we have the campaign over here, which is the current running campaign where you can get your coupons for discounts. As you can see right here, there's a bunch of coupons that you can claim very easily. You hit the claim button, you get those. You can use those coupons to get a certain amount of discount. Also, I highly recommend to join their Discord, which is linked all the way at the bottom, but also in the description down below. If you want to keep track of all of their discount, all of their coupons, all of their other activities that they're doing. Also, if there's any problems with your purchase, there's very friendly people there in their Discord to help you out with any of those problems. And therefore, it makes it very easy for you to get discounts on your packs in Summoners or Chronicles. Once we have those coupons claimed, we can easily go into the game, use the coupons, and have a discount on our next packs. Once we're in the game, we can very simply go to a certain pack that we would like to buy. For example, this one. We can hit the confirm button, and we go to the Huawei purchase window. In here on the bottom left, which I'm kind of sitting in front of, you can see which kind of coupon you're using. So always select the best coupon that you have available. And then you can select your preferred way of paying. Afterwards, this screen simply takes you back to the game, and you successfully purchase the pack with a discount using the Huawei AppGallery. So once again, I would like to thank Huawei AppGallery for sponsoring this video, and let's get on to the video. I'm not necessarily really sure why they add to level 80, but that's for the summoner, but also for the monsters. Like, some of the translations are kind of wrong. I used Google Translate to translate all of this, but some of the things, like, so summoners and summon, so that's summoners and monsters. So everything is getting level 80. That's, I would say that a thing that does make that interesting is that percentage runes will become stronger and flat runes will become weaker, because flat stats keep the same flat stats, whereas percentage stats will actually increase in value. So therefore, also currently, I would say that the sub-weapon and the earrings are probably the strongest things for your summoner, whereas that will maybe slightly switch because you get more base stats, and therefore more base stats means a higher multiplier, means a higher outcome number. So those are the kind of things that I can see this changing for a certain way. So they also had something of a breakthrough evolve stage, and I'm not entirely sure what that is. Is that something that's added new to it, that we have to do something else to evolve beyond like level 70? And they are talking about soul breath, which I think is different than the breath of life we currently have. So these are currently different things that we would have to get. Because you can also see, like, you also need fragments of the corresponding summon. I'm not entirely sure if that means that you need more duplicates to actually awake or like evolve right now to level 70, rather than just having rainbow mons, which we could do before. As you can see here, we have like 4-star rainbow mons, but you still need corresponding summoning fragments as well. And if you need 60 of like the exact same monster, that's going to be difficult to do, because that means you have 3 duplicates in here, 3 duplicates in there to make it towards your unit. So that's pretty much your whole month of putting every unit in the blessing, which is somewhat interesting. I'm curious to see how that will work. So that's a pretty big change to the game. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. If you are saving those units, definitely do not feed them away towards like whatever. Keep those multiple duplicates of things. You can feed them right now for skill ups and then later pull them out with a restoration stone or anything like that, but that's pretty interesting. Another thing that's very interesting on this patch is that they're going to change the ticket system that we have for Path of Growth, expeditions, and that kind of stuff to an energy system. And with that energy, you can probably kind of choose what you farm rather than saying like, okay, I can do 2 expeditions per day, I can do 6 path of growth per day, that kind of stuff on base. You can actually get, you can choose. So maximum holding is 300, and we will get 1 energy every 7 minutes. That also means that if we do that 300 times 7, that's this amount of minutes. That's 35 hours. So 35 hours of not playing, which is like about a day and a half. Whoops. Day and a half, right? Yeah, about like close to a day and a half of not using any energy before it's full. Would be nice if it would be like 2 days-ish, but it is more than you have currently, because currently you kind of restack every 24 hours, right? So, okay, that is slightly different, and then you can also refill it. But every refill, or at least it seems to be recharged with a certain amount of energy. Yes, so you can recharge it as like quite a bunch of times. At some point, it gets pretty expensive. The only thing is, it recharges. Do you recharge the full 300 for that, or do you recharge a certain amount for that? Because if you recharge 300 for 100 crystals, that's like a day and a half waiting for that. That's definitely worth. So at some point, you kind of it starts adding up quite some. So I would, yeah, it kind of depends like how much you will, how much this is worth. So then it's also the energy consumption. You have not just one energy cost like 10 things. Nice. So with this 300, you can do, for example, 30 path of growth. That is not that much, actually, especially if you look at it right now. I have like 1400 tickets or something. I'm also curious, they don't necessarily really mention this anywhere, or maybe I missed it. Like, let me know. Yeah, so they're saying like the daily restrictions are removed. But what happens to the tickets that I have right now? Do I have to use them before? Because I'm literally sitting on like 1500 tickets or so. So that is definitely something that you have to keep in mind that might happen. You can still use your existing tickets. Okay, so for each content. Ah, okay, okay. So you can still use existing tickets, but those tickets will be removed at some point, because they also change like the. Okay, you still get some tickets for some stuff. Okay, so on top of the energy, you can still use some of the tickets. Okay, interesting. But you don't get the tickets anymore from your repeat quests, as far as I know. So there's a few things that are changing. So in this case, they also change a few things on the summon pass. Okay, so daily tasks and that kind of stuff. So they ask for like spend energy, consume energy, and you get like the rewards based on those. Okay, interesting. Doesn't change too much. Is rather than saying like, okay, do path of growth or do this, do that, they just say use energy. Totally fine, makes sense. This is the repeat ticket, so the Rahil orders, and the Rahil orders, they actually remove a bunch of them. So normally you get the 2 that actually give the specific dungeon tickets. As far as I know, those are removed. Yes. So we mostly just do the one from this one, or Contana. Pretty nice translations. So in this case, we see a bunch of tickets, like the essence tickets actually gives faint course. Okay. And then it gives the useful thread. So this is the one that used to be for the Kairos one. The one that was for Path of Growth is completely removed. This one stayed the same. This one is pretty much same as well, but slightly more drops. This one is also a little bit more drops. So to be honest, this is also quite a bunch more drops. And this gives more dim course. Okay, so to be honest, I think the most useful thing that you can do from your repeat tickets is just getting gold. As far as I can see that right now, like sure, if you need the exp, especially on a lower level, that becomes pretty interesting. But these fragments are not really that useful, I would say. So I would probably just go for the gold on that. So they also added in the Chakram Dances, but the Chakram Dances, I can't really read their skills in here, so can't read the skills specifically. But I know that further below down, they have some of the new effects, and these we can actually read. So the fire one is additional damage to the user's max HP. Okay, are they actually net 5s? They are all net 5s, right? Yeah, totally expected that, because from what I've seen, they have pretty nice skill kits. especially Martina. You know Martina from the main game. The Martina is like pretty busted. This game is also pretty busted. But I kind of expect these units to be good in a normal arena, in Siege, good in PvE. But I don't expect them to be good in Brawl, because in Brawl you would have to draft two chakrams, two boomerangs. Otherwise, you go one chakram, two boomerangs, and just bang your chakram, right? Or the other way around. You just ban whatever, unless you have like a force ban or something else. I don't really think you get them too much towards like just your normal brawls in there. But they have some decent skill kits in there. Like you can read them for yourself. I'll actually put the link towards this in the description down below as well. This is somewhat lengthy to read, and we're not gonna get these units anytime soon, and it's not really helping you towards like knowing what's coming. Well, if you read them, you might be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna wait, and maybe I need like one of those units." So also let's check what kind of, are they all archers and mages? Yeah, this one is actually a warrior. Wow, that's Martina, right? So Martina is... No, wait, this is the Chakram. Chakram Dark is warrior. Okay, so we have a few warriors in there. Actually, quite a bunch of warriors. For the Chakrams, it's all warriors. And Boomerangs is mages or archers, it seems. Okay, interesting, interesting. So also this one, yeah. Okay, that's not bad. I think warriors are currently pretty strong. But yeah, you have to pair it with an archer. But the thing is, they are not both archers. That would be pretty bad if they're both archers or both mages. So that's definitely something that you can check into. And these skills, well, you can also just read it here from the screen. They seem pretty interesting of how good they are, but in the end, you have to see like the multipliers. How long is a stun? How much does certain things do? How much mana does it cost? Because also in here, it doesn't show. I think does it show the mana cost? I think it does show the mana cost. But does it also show the time? It doesn't necessarily show the time. I also know, wait, it doesn't show the mana cost as well. So it's better to check those things in game. So they have an event for level 80. That makes a lot of sense. Getting level 80 on monsters makes a lot of sense. They have this event, that event, another lucky bingo event. Cool, not too interesting. We have those things. Okay, they also add something to the quest line, and that is for completing every quest line you, I guess, get a bunch of crystals rather than you need a bunch of crystals. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but that is interesting. They also changing the hero area from weekly to monthly, and then they give you more rewards for it, which I think is pretty chill, especially if you want to do them on all three characters. I was doing them weekly on all three characters, which was actually pretty time consuming at some point, especially for the bosses on the two characters that you didn't level, and you're probably gonna get like a fourth character pretty soon, or well, then a third that you didn't level, because they're adding in the archer. But with this, you get quite a bunch of rewards on this, and this is definitely something you want to do monthly, because that's good amount of gold and everything. And you can do this times 3, times 5. So this amount of gold times 3, times 5 per month. So that's a good amount of gold, definitely. So then we have a certain thing for events. Event rate will change. Okay, I'm not entirely sure. Event will change when 10 subjugations each. Not entirely sure which one this is. I don't know. Okay, for arena they changed a few things. So this is something we probably will get pretty soon as well. So some of the damage dealt was quite a bit less. So they're reducing that a little bit, and then the summoner takes less damage, but the monster still takes the same amount of damage. So it's just, I think it's kind of trying to get Orbia back in the meta, because we can see a lot of cleaves and especially Kinas right now being very strong. So that is something that they probably want to add in. They also do a bunch of improvements, and they will have a hotkey for changing the enemy target. So that part is very interesting. So I really wonder if that's going to be tap targeting, which we're very familiar with in other games, that you just tap and you switch a character to, or like you switch a target to another character. Or that you can put like hotkeys for the 3 characters on the enemy side, or 4 characters actually on the enemy side. And I push, for example, the Z always targets the summoner, the X always targets the first monster, and then so forth. So that could be a thing as well that you could work with. I think both ways would be fine for me. Tap targeting would be pretty good. Actually, both things would be very good for also playing on controller and that kind of stuff. So then we have a bunch of things for... was this individual combat power? Okay, so they changed the combat power. Okay, that's pretty interesting, because health was very beneficial towards like pretty much just getting more health boosted your power by a shit ton. So they're actually adjusting that to things that were lower to actually give more power as well. So you have a better representation of power actually being power. They changed the AI for okay. Yeah, changed whereas summoners. Yeah, so if an assassin was on low HP, it always went back to you and then stand there and do nothing, hoping to get a heal or something. Um, I think they removed that completely because there was also like, sure, it's kind of nice if it's trying to find like a safe spot to stand and not get that much damage, but in the end, most of the time it was just standing there doing nothing, not getting healed, and still dying. So might as well use your final breath to get a few hits in. So that's pretty nice. They changed mining and gathering that if you have the summon pass, you can do it unlimited. That is pretty interesting as well. So you can unlimited mine. That will definitely lower the prices in the shops for sure. I'm not sure if that's worse or not. They also made some improvements for specific locations for mining and gathering, so probably more rocks or more plants or anything like that. But I think this is a decent change. It's actually kind of funny how they went from like 100 times mining, or I don't even remember what it was, like very few, like 200 or something, to 1,000 to 2,000 to mine everything again. I don't give a shit. So that's actually kind of interesting what they're going to do. Um, okay. They also add stuff for the numbers of. That's also pretty interesting. So technically, I think that's too much. So that's crazy for whales. So technically, I can just spend 750 crystals and do 1,000 times the new rate that comes out. That's a little bit too whaley for my side. I don't really like that at all, to be honest. I kind of like the 3 per week. Like, if they did this for Seal, I would be fine with it, because Seal's a bitch and you really need that material. But all of the new rates, you can heavily whale on that, and you can do 100, like, legitimately 100 per week, or 99 per week. But then you're talking 99 per week, and it also costs you 75k crystals. Ew, I don't like that. So yeah, I'm not really sure about that change. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think it's too whale heavy. Then we also have the Professor Luna Care, which is something that you apparently get if you go into a raid solo. And if you go into a raid solo, you get a lot of mana recovery extra. So you can actually do some raids. It will probably get to the point where probably Froggy and even White Castle, Naraka, probably not, unless you can full clear it before the waves. But those two raids, you can probably do better solo than with shitty teammates at some point, which I guess is somewhat interesting. But in the end, you kind of still want to do it with teammates because of like the guild's contribution and that kind of stuff. So this one I didn't really understand. The number of players is changed to 10 in a 5v5. A 5v5 is always 10 players. Or are you going to make it 10 versus 10? I am not sure, because these maps are too small for 10 versus 10. So I am not entirely sure what the changes to battlefields are. Maybe I'm just, the translation is bad, or maybe I'm just a potato and not understanding. They also have a thing that you get more or less ranks or more or less points depending on who you kill, which kind of makes sense. I was farming like lowest ranks and then still getting like the full points and that kind of stuff, and it made it somewhat easy to farm. But then again, I think this will kind of make it better for the people that are top 20, because the moment you're top 20, it's insanely hard to win any match. Like, legitimately, I was close to top 20 for the last season of Battlefield. I didn't use my wings to not hit top 20, to not become like the Battlefield Nightmare or whatever rank, just because your matchmaking is like super messed up. Then you probably fought, like, if you never made it to that rank, you probably fought one of them. You have like one Battlefield Nightmare and then a few guards and knights around it, and the guy will always lose pretty much. So yeah, pretty curious to see if that will change something that way. And they also added in like a hairstyle and that kind of stuff to give defense to support units, which is pretty nice. They also added in 16 account levels, so they probably expanded the thing of account levels as well. And you can reset it. So it used to cost 1,000 crystals. I don't even think we can reset it in global, but it's gonna cost 30k gold, which is pretty much nothing. So I think this is pretty good, like that you can reset it in the first place. For this price would be pretty high, but that price is pretty nice. And especially if they added more, you are kind of want to see like, okay, I will definitely make a video on that. Okay, what kind of points do I recommend you to go for? So definitely, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, do not miss out on that point. So we have for search research, okay, that's cool. We have some changes to this. Okay, yeah, probably. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at, but that is probably something that is pretty nice. Yeah, I think it's about locking runes where you normally couldn't lock runes and that kind of stuff. So that is pretty chill. Because there are some spots where you do wrong combination, you want to lock a rune, you forgot to lock the rune when you just got it, and then you have to actually go out so you don't accidentally combine that rune that you want to keep. So that would be definitely nice. So they also, yeah, they have some things with like equipment's inheritance from the decks. Okay. There were some issues with that stuff as well. If they were locked in a deck and then you remove them and that kind of shit was super annoying. So some improvements made. Okay, doesn't really seem like anything. They made some changes to Path of Training. And Path of Training gives this Soul Breath stuff right now. And that Soul Breath stuff is what you need to make it beyond level 70. So probably we are going to have to farm this a little bit as well. Now we have the Expedition. And Expedition is guaranteed to give Rainbow Mon 5-star right now. Sure, I guess they make it easier to get to the level 70, and then level 70 to 80 on monsters is still harder. Then we have some different things for the summon pass. So they give extra devil mons on that. Sure, I don't mind. They used to give Rahil orders on the arena pass, and that will become energy and also Devilmon. Damn, you get a shit ton of Devilmons from these. Okay, the arena pass is giving a lot of Devilmon. Like it gets 3 more Devilmons than what it used to be. So wow, and there's already a few Devilmons in there, so you probably get a lot of Devilmons from this arena pass right now. That's pretty OP. The exchange, okay. Okay, that seems all fine. This stuff, recipe for normal elixirs, breath of life, and gold. Wait, can you send? Is that X? I'm not entirely sure what this is. Okay, that's just some crafting things to craft certain things, I guess. I don't know. Summon fragments, so they add the new Chakram. Okay, they add some of the stuff to those. That's fine. And then they add in some guild stuff, some guild features. Yeah, that's mainly Guild War, but we don't necessarily have Guild War yet. So these are changes to things we don't have yet. We probably get the newer iteration right away, or we will get the newer iteration right away. And it seems that they just upgraded the rewards. Yeah, it pretty much just seems upgrade of the rewards. I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at, but those. Then they also have the pre-register manager. That is the ticket that you get the selection somewhere from. And I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like you can pretty much choose almost all units right now. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it seems you can choose most units, which is somewhat interesting. Okay, then we have a few things for numeric keyboard. Doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. This one does matter. This one does matter a lot because you were stacking a lot of those at some point and it was just filling up your whole shit. I do hope that they also increase that, for example, for the food that you get like lamb and beef and enchant stones and that kind of stuff. They easily stack to like 9,999 and then it says inventory is full because one of your crafting materials is at max, which is super annoying. So I do hope that they change that part as well. And then they go for a few fixes, I guess. I guess these are more fixes rather than anything specifically changed. And yeah, with those fixes, it's just you can read through them, but most of the time you're like, oh, they fixed something. Was that an issue? They fixed something. Was that an issue? So yeah, those are the things for the patch. I think this was a pretty interesting one. I am planning to do more of these patch notes reviews from Korea in the future. So definitely, if you haven't yet, subscribe and like. And hope to see you in the next one. There are a few things that you want to look out for that you maybe do not or do want to use. Basically on like maybe those corresponding fragments or those corresponding summoning things. There's just a whole bunch of pretty interesting stuff. I'm also pretty curious how the energy system will work, if that will work better than the ticket system we have right now. But I would say that the refreshes you can do on it, that would be like if you can infinitely refresh for 500, whales are going to be whaling. So I don't know about that one, but pretty curious. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. I think there's some good changes, some changes that might benefit whales a little bit too much, but we will see how that works out, guys. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.